once again to the Language Fuel podcast. This is Season 3, Episode 2. We are carrying on this time with our interview with Jill Hadfield, who's the new content editor, ELT Content Editor at the Language Fuel Training Library for English language teachers. Last time we had an introduction to Jill and her very early career, including some time in Tibet. If you haven't heard that part of the interview, I do recommend you go back and listen to it. Fascinating. How many of us have spent a year in Tibet, right? This time we pick up the interview where she talks about her and Charlie's time in Madagascar. And of particular interest is how they managed to encourage teaching there and do provide training where there was very little resources, and I was quite impressed with the resourcefulness that she and Charlie showed. And then we will pause the interview just before she starts telling us about a charity that she set up there or helped set up. So enjoy the part 2 of this interview. There will be a third part coming shortly, and I do encourage you, if you haven't yet entered our free draw, we are celebrating Jill joining the team. So we're giving away one free premium membership for a year to the ELT training library that Jill will be working on. So if you'd like to enter the draw, it finishes at the end of February 2019, which is where we're at now. We're going to be drawing it on the 1st of March. So just go to languagefuel.com/celebrate Jill. That's all one word, Jill, and enter that draw before the end of February, and we'll let you know at the beginning of March who has won that. All right, enjoy the interview.
And then the last aid project we did was in Madagascar, where we were working for DFID, which is the Department for International Development. It's government department in London Ministry. And we had to set up resource centres for teachers in remote areas. Charlie said a diploma in Land Rover maintenance would have been more use in that job than his MA.
Wow.
Which was very practical. It was working out logistics, where the libraries were going to be set up. Because my whole time in Madagascar, I didn't see a single school with any books at all. So these were kind of the only resources the teachers had. So we had to find a room, we had to make it secure and order sort of railings over the windows and things like that.
Yeah.
Find a librarian and devise a simple way of categorizing the books.
You didn't use the Dewey system?
No, I didn't. We used coloured stickers. And then we had to train a team of, I suppose, in-service teacher trainers for each resource centre, each regional resource centre, to sort of give teachers ideas in how to use the books. And I was in charge of sort of, Charlie was advisor to the Minister of Education, was sort of in charge of the whole project, and I was just in charge of mentoring the teachers, because they'd gone back to England and they'd been sent to England for a year, the first year we were there, and to do MAs in applied linguistics.
The Madagascar teachers were gone to do MAs, yeah.
Came back with their heads full of applied linguistics and kind of looked at the situation in the schools and said, what do we do?
Such a big gap, though, isn't there? I mean, there's probably these MAs in applied linguistics weren't designed to train you how to teach with no books or very few books, you know, so filling that gap is quite a big deal.
So again, it was a sort of mentoring thing. They kind of taught with me. They did sessions. First of all, they just watched, and then they did parts of sessions, and then they started doing their own. And I wrote a handbook with ideas for them for doing various teacher training sessions, which was funded by the Department for International Development and published by the Malagasy Ministry of Education. Wow. And also Charlie and I ran a magazine, very, very simple magazine, sort of typed with sketches drawn by Charlie and run off on a kind of bander machine, I think.
I've never seen a bander machine before, but I've heard people talk about it and they laugh. Was there some sort of a smell on the ink or something?
Yes. It was funny. You had to, yeah. So again, the British Embassy funded the printing of it, and the Ministry of Education sent it out to teachers in schools. And I guess one of my proudest teaching moments was Charlie and I gone to do some seminars for teachers in Tamatave, which was a rather sleazy port town on the east coast. And into the bar of the hotel came a French aid worker called Laurent, who looked as if he'd just kind of come in from another world. He'd just been to inspect a school that was so remote that he had to walk for 2 days to get there. Wow. I think the bridge was down, actually. And he said when he got to the school, the English teacher came running out into the playground to meet him and said, do you know Jill and Charlie Hadfield? A lot of the Malagasy thought that the foreign aid community all knew each other.
Right, yeah. You're foreign, you must know her, or him, them.
So anyway, this teacher said, if you ever meet Jill and Charlie Hadfield, tell them I've got copies of this magazine, Ideas. I've got 1, 3 and 5, but I need 2 and 4.
My set's not complete.
Yeah, it was very moving, actually. It was just such a coincidence that he ran into us at this hotel immediately after that.
But did you get the copies to that remote?
The first thing we did when we got back to the capital was kind of make sure he got his copies. Yeah. And it was, Ideas was just full of ideas for teaching with no materials. Like very simply, a very simple idea we had. So, for example, to teach a reading lesson, the teacher would spend one entire lesson writing a text up on the board and the children would copy it down into their books. But we found a fabulous resource, which was in the market in Madagascar, in the capital. They had these huge sheets of paper, very cheap sort of flimsy paper, but enormous sheets, and they'd use it to wrap the vegetables. And
like butcher's paper or something.
They sort of, in a gesture I've never been able to mimic, really quick, they sort of made a cone out of it, put the tomatoes in, and then sort of folded it over. So you went off with your cone of tomatoes. Nice. So we've got lots of these very cheap sheets of paper for the teachers, so the teacher could actually write the reading lesson on it first. Or the reading
and not use the lesson time.
And not use up the lesson time, yeah. So that was just one cheap idea. And then in the issues of Ideas, Charlie would do some little pictures, a bit like the ones. Do you remember that book called 1,000 Pictures for Teachers to Copy by Andrew Wright?
No, I don't remember that one.
So he'd do some similar pictures that teachers could copy very easily and use on the posters and
nice.
use them as teaching aids, which was, it really made you think about my reaction when I first got to Madagascar and saw the schools without any books was, I'm supposed to be here to help teachers, but what do I do?
Yeah.
Resources. And then the Ideas in Ideas subsequently became this Oxford Basics series, which was a series designed for teachers in developing countries.
Yes.
Or teachers, with no resources. Or simply teachers who wanted simple activities that didn't use resources. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a testament to how resourceful both you and Charlie are. I think it's fabulous. I was just going to say, our younger listeners or younger members of the Language Fuel premium membership will be kind of surprised to even hear it, because it's so second nature just to Google an image of something. If you need a picture, there's thousands and thousands to choose from. So even the idea of having to draw it yourself, but B, having someone help you know how to draw simple pictures. I mean, I think it's a fabulous skill. I think all teachers who use a whiteboard should know how to draw simple things, because it's such you want to really quickly do it in live.
It's a lost art, isn't it?
It is a lost art. That I guess is my point. Yeah, it's people who've grown up with technology really don't understand that. Yeah. It's
just going back to Googling the images, there is actually a very useful site. I don't know if your listeners will know about it, called ELT Pics.
ELT Pics. Okay, we'll make sure we put that in the notes.
It's assembled by ELT teachers all over the world who've donated their own photos, and it's very usefully organised in categories that teachers might want.
Perfect.
And suggestions for using them. It's a great resource.
That's awesome. And one of the things that I can imagine already that it solves is copyright, because you certainly don't want to be downloading copyright materials, and it's very easy to accidentally do so if you're not conscious of it. So that's great.
You have to put the Creative Commons filter on if you use Google.
Yep. Awesome.
I hope you enjoyed part 2 of our interview with Jill. tune in next time, Season 3, Episode 3, to hear the end of the interview where Jill talks a little bit more about what she's been spending the last several years doing, including her research and the latest publications. And don't forget to enter the draw at languagefuel.com/celebratejill if you'd like to have a chance to win an annual premium membership to the Language Fuel ELT training library. Ka kite anō, see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Language Fuel podcast. For more episodes and to learn what we do at Language Fuel, please visit www.languagefuel.com.